Board, thank you. And just so you know that every 6 months we have to prepare a agenda for you folks as far as what our statistics are by twice a year. Working with social services, as you advised that Sheriff Allman put together an information gathering group involving the Sheriff's Office, working hand in hand with Department of Transportation, as well as social services. As always, my deputies are used to use empathy and compassion when dealing with the homeless, whether they're in violation of the county ordinances or trespassing laws or just on consensual contacts. Expect nothing less than compassion when it comes to the homeless, because as some of you know, it's very close to my heart with some of the disabled people that are living within our community. We started on the 29th, and we worked from Norgard Lane north to Kunzler Ranch Road. And that took place on the 29th and ended on the 31st. During that time, we issued 22 citations for illegal camping within the ordinances. And there were 5 arrests made, 3 for trespassing, refusing to leave at the property owner's request, 1 for a sex registration violation. He had not registered with us in some time, as far as the penal code requires them to register. He was out of compliance. And 1 for resisting arrest. They wanted nothing to do with going along with the program at all. So a citation would not fit the means. So they were physically taken into jail. And I wish I had the handouts, but some 2 years ago we put together the handouts from social services that are required for the orange cards that give the homeless ideas where they can reside, where they can receive their vouchers, where they can receive their beddings, and where they can hang their hat for the evening. And my officers issued everybody that they came into contact one of the public awareness handouts. Let's say on one day we did take approximately, and this would be around behind the fairgrounds to the Kunzler Ranch Road, 2 solid waste crews, which included 8 in-custody inmates, approximately 30 yards of garbage. So that is an issue that needs to be dealt with. It has not. There's a lot of garbage and waste along the tracks that needs to be dealt with that is going to flow into the river between now and probably Christmas. So that's an agenda that needs to really be taken care of soon. Questions from the board?
Supervisor.
I'm just curious of, I believe that's an navigable river, which the Russian River is considered. Within the high water mark, it's basically the public has the ability to traverse that area, for lack of a better word. How does that interact with your job to basically, you know, I mean, the private property lines go across back, it's all under private property ownership. But with the navigable river and the ability, how do you make that work? I mean, legally, I guess. When what if somebody says, hey, I have the right to be here, and you say, well, no, you're really trespassing? I'm just curious to how that really
works. If they cross the lines, Supervisor Pinchas, then of course they're in violation of the trespassing. If they're along the waterways or in the waterways, they have the right to be there. But again, when we're talking about the trash, if they go campsite and they leave their trash there, that's a violation of.
Yeah, I realize the trash and all that, but I'm just saying as far as them actually to physically be there. If they say, hey, I have the right to physically be here, you can't.
That's not the issue we're running into. Usually the right, somebody passing through and somebody actually hanging their hat and making a camp, two different situations. And that's when kind of the common sense is going to kick in. Okay, are you residing here or are you just passing through?
So you really haven't run into that conflict?
No, not at all. I mean, we're talking about people that want to stay there, that are going to go ahead and hang their hat there, put their tent there, and stay there, reside there. That's the issue that we're dealing with. You know, the common person's usually going to say, hey, you know, I'm just passing through, or we don't run into them much of that. We're actually getting into situations where they want to reside there. That's what we're dealing with. Do you understand?
Yeah, because I was concerned about, like, well, not so much anymore, but that area out there used to be heavily fished. I mean, there was a lot of fishermen that went up and down that, so I was wondering how that would interact with that.
Very, very, very seldom contacts as far as something like that.
Okay. Questions of Captain? Mr. CEO?
Just a couple of points for the public's benefit. The Board of Supervisors in Mendocino County has once again in the last several months given significant amounts of funding to the Buddy Eller Center up the street here. I think a few supervisors and I attended that groundbreaking for their new units. That'll be the next set of transitional units, and they also will be providing kitchen facilities at that location. So Mendocino County, in addition to the work being done by our agencies and the Sheriff's Department, we're actively involved in helping to try and resolve this issue in the community. We hear a lot about people's choices, and many times it's a choice about where people live because they happen to have a dog or they have a drug or alcohol problem. And I know that's a challenge for all of us since the Buddy Eller Center does have some very specific requirements. I think that the other night when I checked in with them, they had 10 vacant beds in the center, and there were a number of people I saw about town. But it is a decision of choice by some of these people where they choose to go every night. We are actively involved with the private property owners and the MSWA agency and solid waste about helping clean up some of the hazardous materials